It's a brand new day, and we'll be making history. Are you with me? Won't you stay? We have come so far. This is who we are. And like the rising sun, we have just begun to play our part. This is the time we form the chorus. Lift your voice for those before us. We can rely on one another. Feel the pride, let's show our colors. We are heroes and dreamers. We are restless believers.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it is, wherever you are. This is Gail of Gaia, and this is Free Range, where we graze on wild ideas, and we have wonderful guests. And my wonderful guest today is Seth Lee. We've had him here before in the past, and we thought we'd come back. And welcome, Seth.
Thank you so much, Gail. Yeah.
Happy to have you. I think we should talk about a lot of different things, but if I was to ask you, have you ever asked yourself, who am I? Who really am I? And
It's a great question. I have no idea what you're talking about, but
I can appreciate that.
but you know what you do? It brings up a great, because it's like one question that brings up a bunch of other questions, like who am I, right? For the most part, in this world, Seth, I've been taught to believe that I'm a person, that this language I'm speaking is my language, is how I communicate, but all the beliefs, behaviors, and actions that a good society expects out of its citizens are taught to us through these words, right? And so we form these repetitious thought patterns and loop cycles and thoughts, and we box ourselves into this little tiny version of who we think we are, when the reality, instead of who are we, I like to say, what are we?
That's even
Right?
better.
Because then all of a sudden you're not dealing with unknowns. And hear me out on this too, because a lot of people don't get what that means. But rather than focusing on a whole bunch of stuff that we don't know, which is a lot of the world's like that, right? We speculate on all these things we're afraid of, or we have aspirations and hopes and dreams that we're looking to achieve. But the one thing that I can say I truly know about myself is that there's some invisible force of energy that is causing my heart to beat. It's causing all of these like mega complex systems of the body to all work together, whether I'm asleep or wide awake. And
It's
so
amazing, isn't it?
and guess what? Everybody has it. Everybody. But look at how few people. Okay, so that would be like, okay, that's what I know. That's there. That's happening. And then who would I be if I made a habit of allowing myself to be influenced by that miracle of life, that beyond intelligent life force that can do all this stuff? You know, I have no idea how to run my body. Yeah, deep in my subconscious I might, but I can't do this. It's happening to me, for me. So what if I let that influence me? Well, that's who you become after that is a very different question than who you are before that.
Isn't that what about us never changes? These physical avatars change. What doesn't change?
See, it's such a big question, right? Because you're talking about scale, really. You know, like if you're talking one little tiny ecosystem that has a lot of extreme different elements, it can change pretty quick, you know?
Mhm.
But when you zoom out and you're talking about a universe, you know, and all these star systems and galaxies, and it's moving at a very different pace than it is here. And it's so massive. And most of what all of that appears to be is in coherence with itself. Yeah, they're, you know, because it's supporting all these different planetary and celestial bodies, and It's keeping it all in place, but there is random chaos, right? Like star blows up, crazy intense, I'm sure, but then the predominant coherent energy waves that hold these celestial bodies together, they catch it and they start to organize all of that chaos into coherence. So that is a lot slower of a change than you know than being knocked off my feet and dying. And
Yeah, we
so
want to talk about that somewhat too, because I think the experience is worth knowing about for other people to know about. I was
yeah,
actually referring to the divine within our soul. That never changes. It increases in knowledge and consciousness, so to speak, but it's always with us. Whereas this body may not always be with us. We may, jump into some other body somewhere along the line or whatever. Um, but our divine infinite being within is something that people need to really connect with. And I guess so much of what we've learned has taught us not to do that. Or that's like heresy or whatever you know what I mean?
and it's so crazy because it's the only thing that's really happening anyway. It really is. Like you look at these bodies, they're again like, what is it? There's a super intelligent force that's causing it all to happen. It's happening to everybody. Everything in the world around us is made up of it, but so few create an active relationship to it. And I'm not talking about like, yeah, reading scriptures or practicing religions. If that helps somebody, that's great. But I'm talking about more simple than that. Like, this energy is in us. It's causing the heart to beat. Allowing us to think and form ideas and perception of reality. It's causing all this to happen, but we don't nurture that relationship for the most part
Right.
because but again, it doesn't make any sense because to me that's the most important relationship in my life. It always has been. So,
Well, it definitely is. And I think it's the most extraordinary part of us that came into this world when we came here.
yeah.
And what it is capable of and what it does is just absolutely a miracle in and of itself.
Mm,
So now
it's a
you've had more than one near death experiences. Would you like to tell us a story about one or more of those, whichever had the most profound influence upon you?
It's funny. I was invited to explain a near death experience to a channel on YouTube, and so I did. I've explained it. It was about an hour long. It was the most impactful near death experience that I've ever had. I was 18 years old.
Oh
Like
wow!
all the studying, all the learning in the world couldn't have prepared me for what happened. And so I just explained, like, again, like this energy is what we are. It is what's happening. And when we start to take the meaning that we assign to everything in the world around us based upon what we're taught to do and what we think these languages mean, then suddenly you start to feel like the truth has a certain ring to it, right? And
Right,
you,
frequency.
you can know it. You know truth when you feel it.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that because truth is not only a knowing, but it's also a feeling. The feeling is there too. It's a frequency that has a feeling, and that's when it resonates with you, and you know it.
And the other part of it that makes, sometimes people feel uncomfortable about it, but I'll be blunt and let's call it out like it is. Every single one of us comes from that orgasmic feeling. Every single one of us. That is how life procreates and how it creates new life. And that feeling isn't just limited to our genitals, it is our whole body. And so when I instead take that sexual energy and I breathe it up into these organs, they start to activate. They start having more life force in them. and they start being able to hold greater amplitudes of life force. And then that same like tingly, ecstatic feeling, but it's not sexual. It's just everything. It's your whole being. But I can
Bliss.
feel that everywhere in my body, around my body. I could just sit there for hours like crying because it's so beautiful, you know, like
Blissful.
blissful. And not to say, look, life, of course, we need chaos. We have to, unless somebody's born already in tune and conscious of this, that is fantastic. That's amazing. But, you know, I do believe we can learn through pleasure rather than pain. Me personally, and I know some of the conversations you and I have had, we learned a lot through pain, and it was really severe, as it is for so many people in the world right now. But that's because, again, we are cut off from the flow of this iridescent energy form that is so empowered with all of these creative feelings, you know? And so just our regular, like, even if we get good at being happy, being compassionate, being empathetic, and kind of embodying and exhibiting the higher virtues of humankind, even that is just a springboard or a foundation to begin to embody even more virtues, more feelings that are beyond explanation. There aren't words to describe it, but it is there. And when you start to tune into it, that soul that you were talking about, that life force that is in all of us, that is everything, it begins to grow and evolve and develop through this life experience that we're having with it. And so, in that way, I feel like each and every one of us is the stewards of these bodies, of this soul. And the more we nurture that and take care of it, the more we create a conscious relationship with it, the more we are able to grow and evolve. And not only that, but when somebody's in those states and they're sustaining it, others around feel it. And they may not know exactly what it is, but they feel something is happening. And you know what? Let's be honest. Look at where we're at as a species. Looks pretty
Near
chaotic,
extinction.
right? Go ahead and
Near
say it. I don't like
extinction.
But you
I
know what?
mean,
It's crazy because
but we won't. It won't happen. But still, we allowed it to get as far as it has.
look, I know, I'm sure you do too. I know a lot of really beautiful, amazing people that I love tremendously, including a lot of family members. And they all get that the way of life that we've been taught to live, this consumeristic point of view, single focus, they know it's not sustainable. They know that it isn't meant to last, but they don't want to change themselves because they can't imagine what is beyond that. And they're so comfortable and used to being who they think they are, even though who they think they are is the result of social indoctrination, where we're taught
Yeah.
to believe we have all these, like, this is me, this is my life, this kind of
Well,
car I like, right?
yeah, it's titles that people might have. It's material things that people might have that they associate their image with, and that those are taken away. What do you have?
Yeah.
You That's where your soul is something you can rely on. Your divine connection to source. So,
Oh,
um,
I'm
it's,
looking at these comments here.
yeah, Laurel was saying she's had a near death experience, or when she was 8 years old, and it changed her
Mm.
life forever, and she'll never forget it. Now, do you feel the same way about your experience?
In what?
That
In
it
the sense, like
that
the
it
impact
changed
of it?
you? Yeah, yeah.
I'm still coming to terms with it. And it
Okay.
happened a long time ago, you know. But I will say this, I've through car accidents, through drug overdoses, through all kinds of different ways, I've cheated death. It's not even the right word. I haven't cheated death at all. I've been blessed to survive because of a whole bunch of reasons. And no matter what it was, that brought me to the edge of self, right? Like, I'm me, this is my life, this is who I think I am. But then all of a sudden something really intense is happening, and I come to the edge of where this begins and ends. And where it ends is the divine, you could say. So this energy comes to the edge of self, and before it releases from this body totally, you're face to face with it. And there's still moments to be conscious of it. And so, no matter if it was from overdosing on hard drugs, if it was from the car accidents, I got in two severe car accidents that both totally rocked my world, or
Wow.
yeah, just all these different ways that it's happened. No matter what it was that got me to that point where I'm on the verge of death, they had different ways of bringing me there. But what happened every time when I got to that point was the same, if that makes sense.
The
Yeah.
singing, did you say?
No, the
Oh,
same. Sorry.
oh, the
Yes.
same. Okay.
Yes. So all these different near death experiences and different ways of getting there, right? But
Mhm.
the result is always the same. Like when you're face to face with the source of what you come from, of what you are, that is quite unchanging at this scale that we're talking about. And if that's not clear, just let me know.
No, I think I get it. Well, one of the things that I wanted to cover somewhat too is this brain heart coherence, and what does that mean, and how can that help people?
So, the past 16 months, I've been doing weekly free guided coherence
So,
meditations. And it's funny because I told you, I think, last time that I was in prison. I got a 5-year sentence and I spent 3 years in there. And I know that you know how much people suffer when that happens.
mhm.
And I was in there having the worst time ever. And then out of nowhere, I just started smiling. And it didn't make any sense. And I tried to brush it off and ignore it, but it kept happening. I kept smiling. And so eventually I was like, my life is a disaster at this point. I'm in the exact place that I couldn't even ever imagine being
Mhm.
in. And I'm here for years. Why not? I'll smile. If my body's happy and it wants to do it, I'll go with it. And so it kept happening. And I kept just smiling with it. And then I very easily noticed that when I'm smiling, when I feel that energy, it's way healthier for my body than the opposite of being like contracted in resistance, in stress. And so I love my life back then, even though I was in the most difficult place. I loved my life force enough and I had tremendous respect for it that if I was going with the flow, if I was learning what it was teaching me, which at that point was how to smile, then that opened up the opportunity for growth. So I kept doing it and doing it and doing it. And then before long, and by the way, I had a bunch of health issues, really severe health issues when I went away. But as I kept smiling, as I just slowed my breathing down, all of my organs, everything became syncopated to my heartbeat. Boom, boom. And I could feel my pulse everywhere in my body. And it was really intuitive, it was really instinctual. And I just kept doing that. Like, always did it when I was in there. And then I returned to a state of like being a little kid before you get traumatized or abused, where the world's filled
Programmed.
with awe and wonder. Yeah, like, and so I returned back to that state in there just by smiling and breathing the feeling of that smile into my body. That's all I did. And it wasn't until I got out that I learned what heart brain coherence is. And that's what it was essentially. It's you get into these states, they try to tell you to, like, the Heart Math Institute is incredible and they have lots of studies and stuff,
Yeah.
but they tell you, like, look, it's exactly what I said. Feel an uplifted feeling, envision something and feel what it's like to be uplifted and breathe it in through your heart. almost like your nose and your mouth were here. So you breathe that in and just keep doing it. And all your organs, everything just starts right there. Smile through your heart is breathing. Yeah. I don't know if you meant to say breathing, Laurel, but still, I've had extreme heartbreak, and I used heart brain coherence to not only repair the heartbreak, but to be able to love at a capacity way greater than I had prior to.
Yeah. I think we have a lot to learn about unconditional love because we have been taught and indoctrinated conditional love, and that's a big thing. So someone else wanted to share. Let's share the 10 Galloping Spirit here. So 10 years ago, I had a loaded rifle put to my head, right at my third eye. Everything stopped in that moment. I surrendered to God. A year later, got caught in a riptide and slammed into a sandbar. God got me. Wow, you're not meant to go. You got something to do. You're here for a reason. Everybody's here for a reason. I really believe that.
Yeah.
And there we all have our missions to work on, complete whatever it happens to be. And your mission, should you decide to accept it, is to figure out what that is.
Exactly. And you know what? It's kind of like nobody really gets a get out of jail free pass that I've seen. Just it's
Really,
like we
yeah.
got to face this sooner or later, you know?
Everybody's going through different traumas and different events, and they certainly have increased in the last 4 years.
Yeah.
There's a
Yeah.
lot of where it's really, really important to
Mm,
make that connection because people can be following around you.
yeah.
People that you relied on, people that you loved, people that you thought you could turn to. It's that connection is absolutely critical.
It's crazy, really, right? Like this, the illusion that we're free when
Oh yeah,
really we're so out of touch with our life force. And what is freedom outside of that?
right. We were born. We came into this world free, and that's why there's such a strong sense of wanting to remain free. I think it's practically written into our DNA, even for that matter.
Well said.
um,
Yeah.
and yet we have been under a mind control prison, you might say. Um, I mean, I'm sure everybody knows about the debt slavery and all that. We have been controlled and manipulated and lied to, and the list goes on and on. And so our true source of um, feeling good about ourselves, being able to love ourselves, comes from our connection to source.
And the illusion is that that connection isn't there, right?
Yes, right. Yes,
But we are. But everything is. Nobody is disconnected from it. There's just this illusion that we are.
yeah,
And that's all that's standing in our way of being in tune with the pulse of life.
yeah.
That just,
Oops, go ahead. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
no,
But
I was just going to say the pulse of life is reality. Like it created us, created everything. And when we're in tune with that, then none of this stuff matters. We don't care about giving all of our energy and our life force away to these broken systems that are run by old, pasty white men with nothing but low virtues in their minds, in their hearts. Their hearts are blackened and poisonous because they have lived wholly disconnected from the very thing that they are. And at what point do we draw the line and say, like, this is crazy?
Mhm.
Let's heal. Let's get back in tune with what is allowing us to be here. It's that simple.
I guess I would like to qualify something as far as white men. I don't like to bring race into any of this because even though it appears that way, I think there's a hybrid, there's alien
I agree.
invasion and so on and so forth that most people are not aware of and wouldn't believe you if you told them that. But we do have overlords, and they have infiltrated through genetic manipulation,
I
through,
think,
you know what I mean?
yeah, we are all aliens, all of us. We have all
Yeah.
been brought here to
Extraterrestrials, maybe we should call it that way. Alien has such a negative connotation, but um,
all those Hollywood movies just ruined Alien for us.
yeah, they did, didn't they? And then there's They Live. That was really an education.
Right. Yeah.
Oh,
But no, I
okay.
say that often because let's face it, this whole Western privileged world that pretty much all the countries of the world look at, and it's weird because they balk at it, but at the same time they feel like that's what they're supposed to strive to do. Industrialism, civilization, let's destroy everything so we can have a bunch of plastic crap. And like, we have an infinite divine source that is already in us, that is here, always has been here. We are born as babies, and in utero we're forming. There's awareness, but there's no belief systems, there's no language, there's nothing like that. And then we're born, and it's still like that, but then bit by bit the world teaches us that who we think we are is this small, sinful,
Insignificant. Yeah.
and everybody
Sinful.
buys into
Wretch.
it. But then look, right? I do stethoscope meditations with people. You take a stethoscope, you put it on your heart, and you listen to your heartbeat, and you create a habit of doing that. That is one of the most direct ways of communicating with the source of your life force. It's right there. And you can tell, like, okay, when you calm down, you slow your breathing down, the heart slows down. And you notice that you feel so much better.
Isn't
But
that where the
then
soul resides, in the heart?
it this that is
Or
such a
right
big
in
question. It's
or right
so
in that area?
it exists in all of us, right? Like ultimately it is a force that is not bound by this body. It's operating everything, all these systems in us, but it is around us. And to the degree that we become conscious of it, we can learn that we really don't have any bounds. But for the most part, it's, yeah, most of the conscious soul is between the heart and the head. Most people, it's in the head.
But we also
They're
have
not even
that
really.
bioelectric field. That's big too. So that, that's part of
Well, and
this.
that's the
Some
thing,
I
like the
call that
life
the soul.
force, it it's so obvious, you would think, right? Like, but so many people just don't care.
In
They
our,
don't.
yeah, they don't think about it. They don't. Our aura goes out like 6 feet, and isn't it interesting that they wanted us to stand apart 6 feet, 6 feet, 6 feet, besides the 666. Uh, uh, yes, these things that we figure out after a while because we're all connected.
Yeah.
They want to break that connection, or wanted to, because when you're in the bioelectric field of someone who's high vibe, who's happy, who's joyful, that's going to have an impact on you.
Yes.
So,
But you know what, though? I can tell you this. If we can sustain these states anyway, authority does not know what to do with somebody who's just smiling and happy and can't have their spirit broken. They could yell at that person like a drill sergeant all day long. You get it line, you, and you're just smiling. You're in harmony with your life force, and you are in a state of love with it. And so they don't know what to do with somebody that they can't break. Because most people are afraid, "Oh," become unbreakable by being conscious of what is already here. Every single part of our body has plexus and neural networks and pathways. Many have their own mini brains, right? And so when we get consciously in tune with what is already there, then we have the ability to build more solid foundations, can build all these mini brains so that they get smarter and stronger. And the stronger they get, the higher the amplitude of energy we're able to emit and receive. And in doing that, we become more aware of what was always right there, but that we weren't focused on.
Right, that's true. That is so true. The golden age of Aquarius is here, where heart is everything and everything changes. Um, People have to come from their heart in order to um, get out of this dimension anyway, the third dimension, which we already are to some extent. But that gets complicated for people to understand, I think. Um, just seeing if we have any other comments or questions that I should bring up. We're just talking about being connected to our universal. Where'd it go? Didn't come up. Our universal brothers and sisters. Yeah,
Yeah.
the Sirius, the Pleiadians. Yeah,
You know what? When
etc.
I was a kid, I grew up in the woods of Maine. I had like the perfect early childhood. And when I would go to sleep at night, before I went to sleep, I just went into this space and I was talking with all my imaginary friends, but they weren't imaginary. I was
Mm-hmm.
having conversations with other family members who look like I did or like you do, like they look like us. And I
Mm-hmm.
would do that all the time. I didn't try to do it. It wasn't weird. I would just lay down and we would communicate. And I knew that they lived in this world, but not here, not in these grounds. I just knew they were out there. And again, it wasn't a big deal. It wasn't like, oh my God, I'm super spiritual and I'm tuning into all this stuff. It was just normal. It was reality. And to try to have us shut down from what we are, like again, like you go outside on a clear night with no light pollution and you see how many stars. You look at that and it's just mind boggling, beyond mind boggling. I mean, you can look up into that and your whole energy can expand out into it forever. Why are we not doing that more together? Like, we break all the boundaries, the imaginary boundaries that we think are here and they're not.
Well, we've been conditioned to believe that they are, and we've been filled with lies about everything. And what's a frequency of a lie? It's a very low vibrational thing. So we are swimming in low vibrations, trying to get to the top and get some air, get some real sustenance. But
Yeah.
lies have a very negative effect. And but now the truth is coming out, and the truth always prevails in the long run. And as difficult as it may be to face, it has to be faced. So,
And you know what? Like the whole thing, like, yeah, okay, in the realms of humanity, right, of what we've been taught, it is all this wicked mind control and everything. But again, the natural universe is here now with us. This planet, this whatever she is a living being beneath our feet. She creates all kinds of fields, electromagnetic frequencies and fields that actually support us. So between all the support of where we are, the natural support and the natural universe or solar system or galaxy, whatever, that is all these huge coherent fields that when we get in tune with our own inner nature, the natural world around us supports that. And that is so exciting because when we do that, and we can do it because it's all there really is, but when we do that and we get good at doing that, all of the death, fire, pain, destruction, chaos, disorder, all the stuff that has been so normalized as far as human civilization goes, it it turns into nothing compared to what is actually here with us. We have infinite support, literally infinite support, but everybody's so stuck in the illusion of freedom on a, we're kind of like a herd, right?
It's an illusion at this point. In fact, they're tightening the collar around our neck. They're trying to anyway.
Well,
They
it's a
won't
good
be
thing.
they won't be
Yeah.
successful, but if that's what it takes to wake
Yeah.
people up,
Yeah.
then so be it. Um, we've just gotten so complacent and afraid to say anything. People are afraid to speak up. They're afraid they might get arrested. Well, how important is your freedom?
It took me being arrested and incarcerated to realize that I was in a prison way before. I was in a mental and emotional prison way before I was physically incarcerated. And that was one of the biggest things to like try to face and overcome and just try to make sense of it. Wild.
Yeah, that's quite an experience to go through. That really messes with your self-image and
Yeah.
self-worth and sense of freedom. If they lock you up and cuff your hands and feet wherever you go every time you walk. I mean, that is so friggin' ridiculous. I can't believe it. It is cruel and unusual punishment added to an already probably horrific, unnecessary, um, degrading sentence. There's a lot that needs to change in that whole system, and I'd be glad when it does. I hope it falls apart. So it does more damage to people. Anyway, I don't want to get
Yeah.
too heavy on that, but yeah,
Well, we
it's
can
interesting.
transmute it too, though, like the whole thing about all this stuff that we're talking about, it isn't like to create self-love so you're just in a state of bliss all day. It's to connect back to that because that is reality. And all the pain and everything that's happening in the world around us can be dealt with by us in a different way when we're in tune to this part of ourselves. And it feels like because there's so many people so afraid of everything that's happening, they're pushing it away. No, 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 I don't want it. I don't want it. Like, what's the saying? What we resist will persist. And it does. But what if we can say, okay, we know that you are doing the most horrific acts there could ever be against
Yeah.
children, against corporations? What if we could look at that not with compassion or love, but with a knowing that, whoa, we love our own life force. We love these children. And whatever they are doing, it might seem like they're getting away with it,
They're
but
not.
they will not. It is this universe or this life, the cosmic court, the divine court, is a perfect accounting system. Every single little tiny thing is accounted for. And when I had those near death experiences, that's what would happen. I'd
Did
go
you
through,
did you have a life review when that happened?
I had like, I don't even know how many. It felt so, yeah, right from that
You
point
know.
when it
Yeah.
happened, my life went in reverse. And then it went in reverse to a different one. And it just kept doing it like way back, way
Wow.
back. And it wasn't just like, "Eh." I was feeling and experiencing everything that happened in those lives at the speed of light, is what it felt like.
And
And it
still
just kept,
comprehending it at the same time?
well, that was the
Whatever.
thing. I was not able to process that much information. It was just so much, but I was being made to face it because I couldn't take. I was trying to run and hide, like I can't do that. I can't process it. But whatever, those cosmic prison guards are like, nope, you are facing it. You've got to face it. And so it would happen like that to these degrees where I had no choice but to face it. And eventually, enough of it, you get to a point where you have a choice. You know, you can believe that you're guilty and that you're a sinner and that we're born to be terrible. And, or we can do like all of these religions suggest we can be like these figures that supposedly are the model of what a fully integrated human being is in relation to their life force, right? And we're all the sons and daughters of God,
Mhm.
all of us. But do we strive to be like that?
No, I don't know.
Most really
Yeah,
don't.
it's
Like
true.
they do in the mind, like, you know, a lot of people I know pray or whatever, but they don't do anything else. They don't think that getting to know your heartbeat, like when I suggest that people do stethoscope meditations, like do it, get a stethoscope, listen to your heart, and when you listen to that heartbeat, you begin to become aware of what is causing it, and it is so humbling. And when you connect to that and you're conscious of it, you begin to have a different relationship with this energy that we are, with these bodies that this energy is animating. And that is the path to really healing. And we can expedite that as much as we can by being present with it and allowing it to guide us. And it also, too, like the three major centers that I try to help people understand is yes, you want to be able to think logically and rationally. That's the brain. The heart, you want your intuition to be there, to be working. And then your gut is your instinct. And when those three major centers are all in coherence together and working, that's when we have the ability to really navigate through this with discernment, you know?
Mhm. I like what Neil Lemuria just put in reference to childlike range of emotions is closer to source.
Where is that one again?
Childlike range of emotions is closer to source. I put it up
Oh, okay,
on
there's
the
sorry.
screen. Yeah.
Yes, I agree, right?
We're always told to be our um, be our inner child or deal
Well,
with
you
things
know, a
in
lot of
this,
people
the
think like
honesty of children. They say the darndest things sometimes because they're
they
so
don't
honest.
have filters most of the time, right? They're
Exactly.
just like
Yeah.
open and they're ready to like be present with reality, you know, and they have awe and wonder. And to be childlike is what it's about, not to be childish. And that's people get confused, right? They just
That's true.
childish.
Well, maybe you better explain it.
Wow.
No, that's funny. No, that's very true about children. Okay,
Yeah.
have you seen this one? Neil Lemire has another thing to say. Anyone else seeing energies? I see golden sparkles all the time. I have heard other people say the same thing, and at times I've seen it myself, but I've not as much as some people apparently are seeing it. I haven't really looked for it either, but it's interesting.
You know, it like the more we just like soften our gaze, right? Like we're looking outside and we just kind of soften and relax our eyesight. We're not trying to see anything. We're not trying to listen to anything. We just kind of make it all tune down and we get calm and we get peaceful with it. but at the same time, you stay bright and wide awake, really aware while this calm is happening. And then you suddenly begin to see all the patterns of everything that's here because it is all energy. Everything is energy. And there's so many different layers and levels and dimensions of it. I mean, look at just between you and I talking right now. Who even knows what is in between all this distance, right? But here we are, we're talking.
Really? Yeah.
You're on the West Coast, right?
Yeah. Well, almost. Arizona. Yeah.
It's a lot of space, right?
Yep.
Wait,
Lighthouse Linda says, I
yes.
commune with the stars every night. They dance and show glow in color and send me love. I think people, I get the feeling that people are connecting more with the universe, various aspects of the universe, more so than they ever have before. And it's all very positive because it just increases the overall knowing of this connection. Um,
It's there. It is with us. And, you know, and this is, you know, sometimes it's difficult to talk about this, but when I was 18 and I had that near death experience, and as I was having a heart attack and going out of my body, I could see all these spirits around blaming me. And it wasn't just spirits, it was like every blade of grass, every insect, every tree, every animal. It was like all of it was pointing the finger at me and saying, you did this. Your species has done all this.
wow,
And
really?
scary as heck, like literally scary as hell. And then all these spirits, same thing, they're all dive bombing me and like attacking me. And, you know, and I went out of my body and I went into this realm where it's this great accounting system. It's like a purgatory. And I'm trying to process all these lifetimes that just went in reverse ad infinitum, seemingly. And as that would happen, all these rotten spirits and everything were there. But I eventually broke through and I learned, or I was able to love, connect to the part of myself that loved greater than I was suffering, love greater than the fear I felt. And in that moment, it all completely shifted. And all these evil spirits, they weren't evil. They were almost in disguise as these angels, spirit guides. I don't know what, like, they're different to different people, but oh, I'm gonna start talking about this. If I mean, I'm gonna start crying. It's tears of joy. But when I'm when they came to my rescue to be with me to help me return to what was always there, but I'd forgotten. When I would look at them, they had the face of every person. They had the bodies, like they were everything, every animal, every person, everything, and they had like infinite different shapes, but they were there. They were embracing me. They were teaching me how to learn to take my awareness and focus on all of these living geometric fields that are the building blocks of life, of reality. And from what I can tell, we all have access to that. And at the same time, people are like, oh, well, you know, it's scary. You don't want spirits that are going to weight you down and kill you. But there's so many of these beings that are the same goal as us when we finally realize that we are here to be servants of the divine and we're all in. We are committed to that. That's when we get the help of all these other beings that also want the same. Because when we come into these bodies and into this life, from what I saw, there's countless amounts of spirits that are trying to get this opportunity to be in this body. Because apparently it's only not only, but it's mostly in these bodies that we have the ability to transform the perception of density and matter and the pain that that can create by being in tune with the source of energy that causes it all to exist. And so we bring balance to the soul, to this life force that has been kind of like in both worlds for a long time, a really long time.
Yeah.
But yeah, somebody just said, yeah.
Oh, I just switched it.
Children?
I don't understand why Creator allows so much evil. If I had the power, they would be stopped in their tracks. And someone else was talking about, some of the atrocities that happen to children that a lot of people don't even want to believe, like have willful ignorance about it. And the only way that it'll ever change and go away is by people having the knowledge of it, so it can get stopped, because it has to
Yeah.
stop. And as a divine connection to Source, what do you think Source thinks about that?
This is a huge question. Yeah. Like, it can be looked at in different ways, but honestly, just like from what I learned and experienced, just as we have this illusion that we're free and we're really not,
Yeah,
how much of it is an illusion? Like how much of that stuff is really just the appearance or the illusion of it to see what degree we are able to process it and be aware of it. I mean, I'm not saying that's what it is or it isn't, but a lot of these terrible things disappear really quick when you're in love with life, or even if it's you have faith, you have trust that this life force that's already operating these entire bodies with infinite intelligence, if it can do all of that and allow us to exist, then surely it must be able to support us in ways that we can't even imagine.
and that's spiritually, not religious. Spirituality.
Yeah.
Another way to put it. Oh, Lenny says, when a person runs into evil, it's a lesson for your soul, so that your soul understand what evil is. Put simply, what do you
It's
think about that?
complex. Really is. A lot of it's so complex. And I'll be honest, like I don't know how to navigate through that. Like with my socially indoctrinated sense of self that believes the illusion is more real than the reality of it behind it.
Right.
But when you break through that, like then all these questions start to become answered with self-evident truths that were always there, but that we weren't able to focus on because of our indoctrination.
Yeah. This one
Yes,
says,
I agree.
Neos. Yeah. I just think initially for people that haven't done it before, it probably is helpful to start with that, and at some point you won't need it. But
I
unless you're
agree
really
fully.
advanced right out
Well,
from
but
there.
and that's the thing, like when you can, like the stethoscope is just to get people to hear it. And when you hear it, then you can start feeling it better. And then once you can feel it, you don't need anything. You just be aware of it and you feel it and you tune into it. But the beautiful thing about it is when you get so good at hearing and feeling your heartbeat just on your own, you can begin to feel your pulse anywhere in your body. And if there's a lot of pain in a certain part of the body, like in your brain or like anywhere where there's pain, if you can feel the pulse of your heartbeat with that smile of I love, I believe, I know I love greater than I'm suffer, that kind of energy allows the pulse of the heartbeat to go into these parts of our body that are in pain and suffering.
By the way, I can say now, return to innocence is important. And hello, Pudwhacker. Happy that you're here. Isn't that a funny name? I like that.
Me too.
Here to I'm just kind of scrolling through the see if anybody else has anything I should bring up. Okay, listen, look at this one. Um, I love it when our audience participates. Today, 6 different people told me they were seeing sparkles. I see a bit more. It's beautiful. I'm gonna have to go look for those sparkles. Yeah, go outside and look.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's see some gardens on that. Okay. Neo is saying that it's intense. There's so much energy all around us. You can see the waves. You can see the waves. That's cool. Well, some people see energy more readily than others, and that's that's a gift. But we're all capable of many of the same types of gifts or special abilities that we see. It's just that um, some people are just, you know, maybe peeled away more layers of the onion, shall we say, or has a different veil of understanding, which is what Jenny always says. But it's we're all getting there slowly but surely, and I feel like we are going through change. That's why we're so tired all the time. Our bodies adjusting,
A lot.
turning crystal and integrating the energies. And that's why it's so important to remove as many of your negative thoughts and energies as possible so you have more room for light. I, I like to think that anyway. I was wondering, we're coming up on, let's see, well, it's not showing me at the moment there. 1 hour. So I was thinking we were going to do a meditation and you were going to lead a meditation. Would you like to do that?
Sure, I would love to do that. It's one of my greatest passions.
Oh, I like that.
So
Okay.
yeah, everybody wants to join us. I would say find a place to get comfortable. If you have some water or something that you want to drink and charge, and you can take your own energy field in harmony with source or creator or God, whatever you call this innate intelligence that is even, it's closer than our heartbeat. It is everything. It's everyone. It's all of it. So get comfortable, totally relax your body, and begin to slow your breathing down. And so you're relaxed, your breathing is slowing down, starting to feel a little more peaceful, and put a smile on your face. It can be a big smile or it can be a smaller inner smile that you put kind of your lips inside, but you feel the smile. And so, no matter which you choose to do, notice how the feeling of that smile creates a feeling of happiness, of joy, gratitude. We all have different things that we feel when we smile. But the most important part about this is that when we choose to put a smile on our face and we feel whatever feeling it makes, we are instantly changing our body chemistry. And if we're stressed out, if we're in resistance, if we're in pain, then putting that smile on your face automatically changes your body chemistry and it uplifts you. And take your breathing And try to feel like you're inhaling and exhaling through your heart, or even just in the middle of your chest. So you have that smile, you feel that smile, you're breathing slow into your heart, and you're exhaling from your heart. So the combination of the smile and the breathing that is slowed down, that is how we instantly change our body chemistry and begin to break down the bonds of being a slave, of unconsciously consenting to external powers to hold us back from what we all truly are, from something that cannot be taken from us unless we give it away. And that is our life force, this soul. Because when you feel the feeling of that smile and you slow your breathing down, then suddenly the life force that is already there starts to get more into coherence with you. Because just by choosing to do this, you are telling this life force that you are ready to meet it and to begin to nurture your conscious relationship to it. Because again, it doesn't matter if you're awake or if you're asleep, this energy is always there. And so when you are in a waking state, walking around or sitting down or laying down like we are right now, that energy is there. It is allowing us to make this choice. And when we choose to consciously connect to it, it notices and it sees that we are ready and willing to make an effort to become more aware of this miracle life force that we all are. And that energy, that soul loves it when we do that, because most of our species do not do that. It's almost like they do everything but that. And it's so far beyond what we could say is insanity, because how could we be this miraculous force of bioelectromagnetic frequency that is really impossible to describe, but that we can experience as the miracle that it actually is? How could we not want to make time to focus on that? So, of course, we're going to want to. The more connection we consciously create, the more this feedback of this energy is going to support us focusing on it even more. And this is the beginning of a love affair between you and the source that is allowing you and me and everyone to exist in these bodies. And as you continue to be more connected, then you really commit to the relationship. And it helps you purge all the things in this world that we unconsciously consented to. This language, who we think we are, our day, our friends, our family, all of the different elements of our life that we are used to interacting with from a very limited level of perceptual awareness. Suddenly, those hooks or those cords or chains begin to break free and release from how we perceive reality in support with this life force that is our body. And so the more that this purging begins to happen, the more at the same time this feeling of life force that, for lack of better words, it is orgasmic. It comes from that feeling we all do. But that feeling isn't only localized to our genitals, it is every single part of our being. We came from it, we developed and evolved with it, and here we are now. And that same exact energy is still right there. It's operating us. And we get to have the most beautiful choice that we could have ever made in this life. And it is to be in tune with this life force. And the more we prioritize that individually, the more we begin to find others who are also doing that. And together we become a force of nature, a literal living geometric field that represents all of the building blocks of the energy signatures of life itself. And when we tune into that, it begins to influence us with its essential nature. And then all the things that we've learned here, these languages, these belief systems, all these things that we've learned suddenly begin to have a lot less significance. And when they have less significance, they no longer influence us the way that we unconsciously consented to, because now we are conscious of the realization, the revelation that we have a choice to decree and declare that we are divinity incarnate, and that we have an inalienable birthright to be in harmony with the miracle we are, individually and together. And that support, that is reality, begins to influence us. And then when we live in this world, the world changes. Suddenly we don't feel like we're giving energy to everybody and everything around us because we become in tune with this energy and it begins to flow out of us. But nobody can take it and abuse it or use it. It's not made for that. We're talking about reality, these elemental building blocks of life that are frequency. And so if you can feel something in you right now that you may have felt from our time together tonight, even if it's just a little aha moment or breakthrough, or even that orgasmic energy, but non sexual, if you can feel any of that, memorize what that feeling is as you, as your life force is animating this body. Because just like the smile that creates the self-love that becomes the foundation for building greater feelings, thoughts, emotions, so too does that energy of creativity create the conditions throughout our entire being for us to evolve with the source of life force, God, reality, the quantum field, whatever that is to you. And you're allowed to believe whatever you want. And whatever that is for you, create this connection. And if it can operate all these systems of our body, whether we're awake or asleep, then of course it can also guide us in this world through our lives, through our challenges and difficulties. When we are influenced by this life force rather than the world around us, we bring the sacred back into our state of awareness. And it is more contagious than any virus. When you feel this level of interconnected, balanced love from the inside out, and you are aware and conscious of its power and how it works within you, that creates a level of love that supersedes everything we think we know about love. And it guides us. It shows us how to embody and emit that, and then everybody in the world around will feel it because the truth has a certain ring to it. So before we open our eyes, just one more time, see if there's anything you feel that was helpful that you can memorize. And from there, you just keep breathing into your heart with that little smile, that inner smile in your face. And when chaos happens, or blame, or shame, or judgment, or all the things that happen to all of us every day, living in a world that is so out of tune with the essential nature of life itself, whenever we get knocked out of orbit or thrown off balance, we are gracefully able to get right back up and connect in coherence with it, because we are in coherence with this life force in our body. It is what we are. It forms who we have the potential to be. And if we're ever going to come together as a species and override all the division and hate and abuse and all the things that are childish, not childlike, they are childish. Most of that stuff represents unresolved trauma and issues from others that never were able to heal from their initial wounding. And for most of us, that's in our childhood or in our teen years. So when we become childlike now in these bodies, at whatever age we're at, that is our return to innocence. That is our message to the world, to the source of this world, that we are ready to be an agent of divine change, of infinite intelligence, literally animating everybody and everything. And we are able to be in harmony with ourselves so that we can be of greater assistance and serve the people of this world, especially starting with the children. Let's help them stay empowered. Let's figure out ways to make it so that children can bounce back quick from whatever happens. And so they can stay in that power. And that is the seeds for world change, that if they are nourished and they grow, they can flower. And in doing that, new precedents of what we value begin to become real, meaning we are valuing relationship with our life force as a priority. And from there, we are prioritizing relationships with others who are prioritizing this most important relationship. And it keeps going. And it can go to whatever level we are ready to go with it at. So if you have water or something near you, see if you can feel your heartbeat in the bottle of water. You don't even have to think about it. You just suddenly tune into the part of yourself that can feel your heartbeat in something external to you. Because the more you do that, the more you see that we are not disconnected from anything around us. Each of us is an intrinsic part of these greater spiritual cycles that are playing themselves out over incomprehensible amounts of time, but that are ready to do it with a species who is in sync with it. So feel that love in your water. When you're ready, take your hands, create really, really hot friction, get them nice and hot. And when they're warm or hot, take the palms of your hands and put them over your eyes. And notice if you see anything, sparkles, visions, geometries. And if you didn't, it's okay. And when you're ready, open your eyes, drink some of the water. Thank you, everybody. You're on mute, Gail.
I hate it when I do that. I always forget to take myself off of mute. But anyway, that was wonderful.
Happens.
I enjoyed it a great deal. And I felt, when I smiled, I felt tingling all over. And it was really cool. It's like making yourself smile. And,
Yeah.
very cool. You know what? I would like to show your, oh, I don't have it up. I thought I did have it up. Your site, the where you have the meditations.
Oh, yeah. It's just my first and middle name, SethLeaf.com.
Okay,
My book is on it too.
I'm just gonna open that up as soon as I get it up. Okay.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, now I'm gonna just share. Let me make sure I got where did it go. There it is. Okay. I'm going to bring that up over here. I'm gonna show the screen, and hopefully I'll shut that off for now. If you go to this site, it's also I'm awake now. Watch. I think that's funny. That's cute. Anyway, let me make sure you are seeing it, right? Okay.
Yeah, I can see it.
Let me scroll a little bit. Check out hundreds of different free meditations. So Seth has a lot of meditations here related to heart and brain coherence, also known as a flow state. And this is very interesting. You might want to read. He explains what heart brain coherence is, what is I am awake now what is, and so on. So, and there's more about Seth there and the different services, the free meditation, coherence meditation, his book, The Fight to Enlight, and there's also a monthly membership to support his platform.
Most of what I do is all free. I just want it to go out there. I want people to have
That's so
access to it.
important. That is so important. I tell you what, I have a hard time. Well, actually, I don't have a hard time. Source always provides eventually. We got to watch what we say, you know. I'm trying to catch myself, and I do more and more because it is important what we say because it's you know our body, our heart, our soul, everything's listening, and so we want to make sure that we're saying good things and not things we don't want to hear or say. Is there anything else on this site that I should show? Here's
my free book. If people want that, I'm giving away the PDF.
Oh, that's awesome.
See it right there at the the right top. Send me the free book.
Oh yeah, right here. Okay. So all you have to do is go to this site, I am awake now what, and you can get a copy of Says free book PDF.
It's a PDF. I'm giving ones away where they're physical and I sign them, but they're not going to last long. It's cost me quite a bit of money, so I can't do it forever.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's. I haven't read it all, but the parts that I have read are very good, very interesting. In fact, I was started reading this one part where you went through a near-death experience just before the show, and I had some other things to do, and it had me, kind of compelled to what's going to happen next. Anyway, you also have what I think is rather fascinating, some tourmaline spring CBD drink dots. So somehow you have a water-based CBD product. Is that correct?
Yeah.
That's
We
pretty
saved one
fascinating.
of the last great natural sources of spring water from Nestle, who would have destroyed it forever.
Oh, they were just stealing water from everywhere, turn around
Oh,
and sell it and charge us for it.
it's
Unbelievable.
crazy.
That man is totally evil. I mean, they have taken infant formulas and powdered formulas in third world countries and didn't tell anybody anything, and people mixed it with just non-purified water, and babies
Mm.
got sick, all kinds of things. So yeah, they do not have um, a very good reputation in terms of their humanitarian efforts, even though they make baby formula. Um, mm, or not Nestle. Yeah, they make baby formula too, I believe. But the worst part is the water that they're stealing. So this spring water is pure from the source.
Oh my God. Yeah, it is the most pure. It's won awards. I actually just started doing it again because, we're coming into a time when it's like our moral compass and all sense of ethics are being questioned, it seems like.
Yes.
And sometimes, like, taking a back seat and really feeling into what fits into your standards. Sometimes it could take a little bit of time.
Yeah. Okay, I think I'll stop sharing on that one. Then we have what time? Well, how long is that one activation song? I'd like to play that.
Oh, yeah,
Or
yeah,
should we?
do it for sure.
Um, so bear with me here. This song, I swear, I hope the sound quality is good. I don't know what it will be on the platform here, but there was something about the sounds in this video that I found very whoa.
Throat singing. Yeah, the throat singing is powerful.
Yeah, yeah. So, okay, let me share my screen again. And let me find this here. And let me share. And make this big. Wait a second here. Are we ready to go? Okay. I will start it again. Are you hearing it okay?
Yeah, I can hear
Okay.
it.
It's That was rather profound.
Thank you.
Oh, geez, I gotta turn this off. Sorry. Okay. Always got to remember to shut that video off because it just keeps right on going. So that was some, I don't know, I get certain feelings with that vibration. I can't even describe it or explain it, but it does. And what's interesting about it is I went to a sound healing session once, and it was with native drumming, and I had all kinds of visions. It was so cool. Um, so there's something about uh, sound vibrations, I think, that most people should experience because it hasn't been. I know there are people out there that are using it for healing now, but we need a lot more of it. They used to have bells all over the place because bells had a healing frequency, and they destroyed all the bells or they took them down. And there's like a, you could call it a graveyard of bells I've seen where there's all over the place. So the sound healing is really important, and I felt like that was a version of it. So
yeah, our own voice, when we tone and we feel our actual voice, you don't have to know how to sing or anything, but when you just and you feel it in different parts of your body, your own voice can do wonders for your body.
It's true. The sound, yeah, I couldn't agree more. Well, I think that's about, we're going to have to call that a wrap for today. And I can't thank you enough. That was a wonderful presentation on your part and meditation. So,
thank you for having me on.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. We'll probably do this again sometime. So
yeah,
I'll talk to you afterwards. I understand you're going to be working on healing music. Is that correct?
Yep.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, we'll definitely have to do this again. So thank you, Seth.
Thank you, Gail. Thank you, everybody, for staying with us.
Yes, thank you so much. We'll see you all again soon. Bye-bye.
Right.
We have found our way. It's a brand new day, and we'll be making history. Are you with me? Won't you stay? We have come so far. This is who we are, and like the rising sun, we have just begun to play our part. This is the time we form the chorus. Lift your voice for those before us. We can rely on one another. Feel the pride, let's show our colors. We are heroes and dreamers. We are restless believers, stronger than ever. Never say never. Don't look back now, don't look back now. Rise up, stand with each other. We are sisters and brothers, finding our place and running the race. We'll take our chance and seize the moment. Hold on tight and don't let go of all your hopes and dreams that light the way. We control our fate. Destiny awaits. We are all the actors in the stories we create. Hope will be our guide. We'll no longer hide. When we roll like thunder, feel the wonder from inside. This is the time we form the chorus. Lift your voice for those before us. We can rely on one another. Feel the pride, let's show